Hey guys, this is Sam the Leftist, and this is my first YouTube video, and let's get into these polling statistics. Okay, so I have the polls for Wisconsin as of April 2012, 2016, and 2020, and I also have Wisconsin results, polls, national polls from 2012 in April, 2016 in April, and 2020 in April. So let's start with the popular vote results compared to the generic ballot and polls. Okay, so in 2012, the popular vote results was Obama plus roughly 4. In 2012, the turnout was 55%. And the polls for April 2012 had Obama plus 4. So it turned out to be pretty accurate from April in 2012. The generic ballot in 2012 final results was Democrats plus 1.2. Generic ballot for 2012 in election night was election night poll and RCP average from election night was Republicans plus 0.5. And the generic ballot in April 1st, 2012 was Republicans plus 1.2 percentage points and congressional generic ballot. And the Wisconsin results, moving on to Wisconsin in 2012, was Obama plus 9, and the turnout was 3,068,434 total votes in Wisconsin. And the polls as of April 1st in Wisconsin was Obama plus 15. So as Obama didn't actually win by as much as 15 points in 2012 as April, I would say the polls turned out to be fairly accurate, and that had Obama plus 9% in final results. So only minor changes, but plus 15 is beyond the margin error. So the 2016 popular votes results was Clinton plus 2 percentage points. And the 2016 polls for April 2016 was Clinton plus 4. So Clinton ended up losing 2 points, but I would say it's fairly accurate. And since plus 4 is not like a crazy lead, I would say it's probably within the margin error. So, that would be expected. So the polls as of April 2016 in the 2016 general election weren't awful. They were fairly accurate. A generic ballot results for 2016 is Republicans plus 1. Generic ballot results, RCP average for generic ballot on election night was Democrats plus 0.3. And the generic ballot for as of April 1st, 2016 was Democrats plus 1. So as we saw the election go on, the Democrats would lose, and they lost about 1 percentage point now to 0.3, and their results were within the margin error, but fairly inaccurate in the fact that they showed the Democrats actually winning on election night according to RCP average as compared to the actual results after the election was all said and done. And the Wisconsin results for 2016 was Trump plus 0.7, and the turnout was about 2,976,150 people turned out in Wisconsin. And the polls for 2016 as of April 1st was Clinton plus 16, which is the poll didn't do fairly well for as of the results, because losing 16 points to the election is either something that's a problem with the candidate or with the polling. And I would say probably in this situation it would be a problem with the candidate. And now to get to my final point on going into the 2020 results. The generic ballot as of April 1st, 2020, is Biden plus 4. And the generic ballot, the polls as of 2020 is Biden plus 4, and the generic ballot is Democrats plus 8.3. In the Wisconsin polls as of April 1st, roughly April 1st, is Biden plus 28, which would be considered significant. But the only problem is, you know, Clinton had a crazy high lead as of April 1st, and she lost that all to Trump by 16 points. And Obama had a comparatively, high lead compared to as compared to the actual results. So he ended up losing about 6 points. Hillary lost about 16 points going into April, 15 points, and we don't know how much Biden will lose. So while this is really good poll numbers for Biden, we don't actually know how it's going in the general election. And where we can see what really made the difference as of 2012, where Obama did fairly well, +9 on election night, is that the turnout was significantly higher. So 3 million is obviously, it doesn't seem like a difference. I mean, all of them are roughly 3 million, but when you take into account, it's basically 100,000 votes that Hillary failed to get. And generally, those votes are, when you have a drop in votes, that shows that a certain candidate wasn't able to turn out enough votes, usually by people who feel disenfranchised. That's why it's often minority voters, people, primary opponents. So, like the Bernie Sanders campaign, um, in 2016, probably had something to do. Bernie Sanders voters had something to do with Hillary not being able to win the state, and that's not really the fault of Bernie Sanders voters, because you never should blame the voters for the outcome. So it's probably the fault of the Hillary campaign in 2016, where they lost that much ground. They lost about 10 points to the Republican Party in 2016 because they weren't able to appeal to the left wing audience that Obama was able to by not having many primary challengers. So she lost about 100,000 votes. Also, another reason why this plays to my argument that these voters were likely Bernie Sanders voters is these voters in Wisconsin, the state I chose, is a fairly white state, and a lot of these votes are not going to be inherently minority voters who Clinton also failed to get, and Obama had an inherent advantage there. So basically, Hillary campaign failed to get Bernie Sanders voters to turn out, and the reason I chose Wisconsin is it's generally more red state than a state like Michigan, and it went to Trump by a bigger margin than Michigan did. So I chose Wisconsin because if Wisconsin goes, then Michigan go. I mean, if Wisconsin is going Democrat, then in all likelihood Michigan and Pennsylvania go Democrat, and you have the election right there. Considering that Biden holds on to every state, Hillary in 2016, and a lot of these issues, he needs to get Bernie votes, and he's trying to appeal to them. If you look at this article right here, let's see. Sorry about that. Pull up this article right here. Sorry for the video, but basically what it says is Biden announced that he's lowering Medicare eligibility age to 60, and forgiving student debt to low income and middle class families. That isn't, he didn't give specific income brackets. He just said low income and middle class. And I personally don't feel like that's enough, considering that a lot of other more corporate Democrats like Amy Klobuchar were proposing and in favor of lowering the Medicare eligibility rate to 50. So I think he needs to work a little harder, but I definitely think it's possible he can win Bernie Sanders voters. And how does he do that? Well, I think the main way that Biden can win Bernie Sanders voters like me is to come out in favor of Medicare for all, and possibly free college. I think Medicare for all is the biggest most popular issue of the Bernie Sanders campaign. And while not single payer, free college is one that would just help. I think if he just were to come as Medicare for all, he would get a ton of Sanders votes, more than he can imagine, and what Hillary was unable to do. So that's my final thesis from all these polling results.